All right, good morning, trade pros. Sound check. 1, 2. Hope you guys are having a great Thursday morning. We got a lot to cover. Let's jump right into it. S&P just puts in a new low on the overnight session at 7.75. So we'll talk about that in a moment. I watched yesterday, one of the big events was the tech hearing. So let's kick it off with that. I watched 3 of the 5 hours personally, and I'm going to watch the other 2. I think it's important to know this information. I'm going to tell you this. Having watched most of these, at the beginning, lawmakers really started off with some crazy questions like, so Google, it seems like your main revenue source is search and ads, isn't it? And they're like, yes. I was like, aha, we got you. But it didn't really make sense. Now they've got a lot of documents and research, and they're really starting to hit at the heart of the issue. And they're getting emails, from the CEOs directly that they're citing and reading. So this investigation, first of all, has really advanced. At first, I thought it was going to be kind of just an attempt to say, "Hey, look, guys, we're trying to do something about this," but it's taking a whole different route, and it was interesting. Here's some of the things they're taking heat about. Sundar Pichai, the Google CEO, Alphabet CEO, actually took heat on stealing data from a lot of providers like Yelp on reviews and ratings. How Google favors their ecosystem as well with the search. How some results drop off. Some political statements as well. I forget the guy's name, which sucks because he had some really good questions. He said, "We just want to know that you won't favor Joe Biden this election." He's like, "Senator, Congressman, we don't do that." And then he's like, "All right, well, let me read you an email." So it's very interesting. Zuckerberg took a lot of heat on Instagram and Snapchat, their attempt to acquire Snapchat and their successful attempt to purchase Instagram. All right, and how they're just buying up the competition. And there was an email from Zuckerberg that said, "Look, we can't. There isn't any competition we can't buy, and it's not time to do Google yet, or we can't do Google yet." Type of email. And when he was asked that it's a joke, but the congressman said, "Hey, no joke. You have a history of purchasing competitors and creating competing products that rip off a lot of the features of your competitors." Zuckerberg says everyone does it in the industry. And Bezos took a lot of heat as well. First time for him being in a testimony, he took a lot of heat about their marketplace. One interesting thing for me is internally they refer to sellers on Amazon as internal competitors. Like if you go on an anti-competition hearing and calling your customers that are selling on your marketplace internal competitors, you're kind of already 1 foot behind the whole thing, right? You're proving their point, if you will. And I think based on this, I think Amazon's at the biggest has got the biggest likelihood of being separated out, kind of like AT&T. Very interesting stuff. Bezos, interesting performance. Obviously these guys have been trained to talk as much as possible and not deliver substance, but they kept cutting them off. They were really kind of aggressive. I haven't seen the last of it, so this is just what I've seen so far. Tim Cook has had it easy at this point. Just asked a few questions about the App Store and blocking apps to compete with them. So, they're getting grilled to a pretty sufficient level. Very interesting stuff. I recommend you watch it. There's a lot more details in it, but, I only got 10 minutes, and this is one of the least important topics. So let's move forward. After the tech hearings yesterday, there's going to be some tech earnings. The stocks of the 4 companies didn't really care that they were being grilled. They didn't really care about the answers and responses. Continued to rally. But the earnings are up today. So Alphabet and Apple. Apple was delayed from yesterday's reporting time frame to today afternoon. Facebook was delayed from yesterday to today's reporting. Apple was scheduled for today already. So Alphabet, Apple, Facebook, and Amazon all reporting today after the bell. It's going to be a big one. I plan to trade it with the NASDAQ futures. I'm going to sign into our elite room and trade it with our whole community. I think there's a lot of opportunity here. This whole day, there's going to be opportunity, including the afternoon. So get ready for a busy day. All right. In FOMC land, so yesterday we also had the Fed announcement. Told you there's a lot to cover. We see a lot of follow through and gains on the Fed. This always happens. Nice upside on Federal Reserve jawboning. They're going to save the economy. They're like the market god. And then as soon as Jerome Powell stops talking, there's a big dump. That's exactly what we saw again. So what he pretty much said is the path forward for the economy is extraordinarily uncertain, will depend in large part on our success in keeping the virus in check. So Jerome Powell basically deflected. It's like, bing. It's like, Mr. Powell, I have a question for you. Bing, off to another, it's the virus. Watch the virus. I don't have an answer for you. So he's deflecting a lot of the hardship. of having to deal with these kind of questions. I get it. It does really depend on the virus, but it also doesn't. The economy is a response to it, but they also have the obligation and responsibility to grow the economy without the virus anyways. All right. He said, we're not even thinking about raising rates, and it'll take continued support for both monetary and fiscal policy. So he also said they have no intention of buying equities after purchasing corporate and municipal bonds. What he doesn't understand is that ETF is an equity product, and so they are already buying equities. But I think what he meant to say is they're not going to buy equity companies directly. All right. But nonetheless, that was Jerome Powell. He basically said they're going to support the market, lower interest rates for longer. The market liked it temporarily. All right. Fast forward to this morning. All right. Procter and Gamble had some decent earnings. So it's a bit of a longer report. Let's just say that. They're 3.3% Dow weight. Not bad earnings report. We don't have to break it down. Here's the big news of the morning. Okay. GDP and initial claims. So GDP was slated for a pretty dirty drop to begin with. The expectation was between 34.1, or rather between minus 22.6 to minus 40. That was the range. Anything above minus 40 was worse. But it came out at minus 32.9, less than the expected of minus 34.1. Right? And I use the analogy here in our elite room where we're trading. It's like, when you get caught for something in school and you're like, it wasn't that bad. I didn't do anything that crazy. He started the fight. And then they pull the tape and you're watching it and you punch him first. And he wasn't even doing anything. You were kind of the bully or the aggressor in it. You're like, that's kind of bad. That's kind of what the market's experiencing this morning. Yeah, it was expected that we're going to get minus 34%. Everyone knows Q2 is going to be crap because of coronavirus. Doesn't make it any less worse that it is that. There's still a reality we have to face. And the market saw that and said, initially it held off. It didn't really dump. I signed off to go in and do these show notes or the morning market update notes, and I missed a trade. Could have been a couple grand. So this morning market update cost me a couple $1,000. That's life. Whatever. We'll make it today. GDP is, so like I said, it's down, but not down as much as expected. In terms of initial jobless claims, it's 1.434 million people filed for unemployment benefits. All right. How does that contrast to the prior number? Well, previously it was 1.416. It's not that much higher. It's like 18,000 more people, but that is still higher. And that's the important part, is that we had 15 consecutive weeks of declining weekly claims. Suddenly now we have 2 consecutive weeks of increasing claims. All right, that's important. It's the trend that matters. More importantly, 17 million 17 million Americans, U.S. citizens, are still on unemployment claims now. They're receiving employment benefits versus 16.2 million expected and 16.15 prior. So not only is there more people filing, there's more people staying for longer. All right, and we're kind of heading into this when an employment subsidy, our government subsidy for $600 a week, is about to expire tomorrow, and there isn't any bill to kind of plug that gap. And so I think we're sitting here in a potential market pullback. I think a lot of people are going to start unwinding and selling. And you know what? 3,200 looks like support. 3,192 is really big support level. Below there, you're probably looking at the 3,130 next level down. All right, sell rallies this morning. Unless we get extremely bullish, then you could flip to the long side. Don't fight this thing, but start out with the idea to the downside. If you do get follow through, it's going to be one hell of a day. If you do go up, we go sideways again. Okay, but I don't think this market shrugs off a GDP report and unemployment claims like this. Remember last Thursday when it dumped big time, what was the catalyst? Unemployment claims. We just got another higher report. Keep your eye out, sell rallies to start, and if it gets bullish above key levels, and start buying it. All right. All markets red across the board in Asia, Europe, and the U.S. Crude's down 1.6. Gold's up 0.8%. Bitcoin's down 3%. For the rest of the day, there isn't really any big news. Natural gas at 10:30. All right, that's it. That's your morning market update. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Yes, Krister, that's the guy. Mr. Jordan, he was pretty good. Miss Demings was also awesome. I Googled her. What district was she? Man, she was amazing. I love her. I love being acquainted and having friends like that. Just straight to the point, straight shooter. It was awesome. It was good. for me. You get some entertainment out of it, but very important because I think there is going to be action as a result of this investigation. All right, otherwise it was all for nothing. All right, love you guys. Be careful out there. Be safe. Manage that risk. And good luck with today's trading session. We're going to head on over to the trading room. I invite you guys to join us. Get a membership. There's 14-day money-back guarantee, so it's risk-free. And when's the next time you're going to have something risk-free in the market? I'll tell you when. Never. Love you all. Got to go and open up the trade room. Ciao. All right, Trade Pro.